a leading independent girls' school at the center of allegations of historical UAL abuse, is facing a backlash from former students who have told The Guardian they were outraged to be asked to volunteer their experiences of abuse and harassment for a school drama project. An email to alumni of St. Paul's Girls' School Springs in West London, soliciting stories for a documentary-style drama inspired by the Me Too campaign, backfired spectacularly with furious responses from some former students, a number of whom alleged UAL abuse while they were at the school. One former pupil, who described the email as totally inappropriate, said she had been groomed by a member of staff who then had with her when she was 15. She never reported it. The atmosphere at the school was not one of ready empathy and not one where deviations from the norm were embraced, she said. I did not at any point feel that what happened to me was something I could share with anyone at the school. I felt a lot of shame, and what happened was that my silence became the only means of defiance that I had left against the school. Another described the email as tone-deaf and accused St. Paul's of trying to capitalize on former pupils' experiences of abuse and harassment when it had failed to adequately support them when they were students. The prestigious £24,000 a year school in Hammersmith, whose former pupils, known as Old Paulinas, include the writer Dodie Smith, the scientist Rosalind Franklin, the broadcast journalist Sophie Raworth and the actor Rachel Weisz, had hoped to interview people about experiences of UAL harassment in the workplace for the drama project. The email from the school's director of drama, Isabel Foley, was headed "Exciting St. Paul's Drama Collaboration Me Too." After receiving it, a small number of former pupils made allegations of UAL abuse while they were at the school during a period between the 1970s and 90s. According to the school, 2 women made claims relating to personal experiences, while others reported alleged abuse described to them by friends. The idea of requesting abused women to come to the school, a place where potentially their abuse took place, was inappropriate, the former pupil who claimed to have been groomed by a member of staff said. She spoke to The Guardian on condition of anonymity. My main reaction was that the first word, exciting, and the way it was framed, it seemed our stories of UAL abuse were an exciting business opportunity for St. Paul's, which is a very poor approach to offering solidarity with your alumni. St. Paul's is one of the most famous girls' schools in the country, she added. The Me Too movement was an incredible opportunity for St. Paul's to grasp, to champion and support and empathize with women who may have suffered abuse either at St. Paul's or since. The hall at St. Paul's Girls' School. One former pupil said the school previously had a toxic social environment. Photograph alumni stock photo. Another former student, Laura Tully, a clinical psychologist, sent a furious email back which said there's nothing exciting about this drama collaboration. The experience of UAL assault and abuse is not available for voyeurism or dramatic translation. Your email is tone-deaf to the traumatic experiences those of us have had in our lives. It saddens me that, now that there is opportunity to make a project out of this, the school is finally interested in our stories. As students, many of us were harassed and/or assaulted at Springs and beyond. Many of us were dismissed or denigrated for these experiences, our UAL orientations and other identities we tried to express. If you are interested in effecting change, start changing the environment you are in. Don't place the burden on those who are vulnerable to educate you and provide material for your gain. Both women acknowledged that much had changed at the school since they were students there and welcomed the school's subsequent efforts to repair the damage done by the email. The drama project has been cancelled. In a follow-up letter, the school's High Mistress, Sarah Fletcher, apologized for the hurt caused. Our intentions were good, but we clearly did not get this one right. The word exciting did not belong in such a message. It was insensitive to associate this word in any way with unhappiness and abuse. St. Paul's declined to comment further. This is a positive turn for the school, said Tully, and hope he signals a new approach to how they understand their students as whole persons, rather than academic achievers only. When I was a student there, the atmosphere of the school was one of high academic pressure and toxic social environment, with little to no support for students in terms of mental health or related challenges. Students that did not fit the ideal narrative of the school were ostracized and pressured, or treated with disdain. I am hoping that the recent events prompt the school to take a closer look at its own culture and narrative, and work to improve how students are supported in the future. Another former student said back then there really was no such thing as safeguarding our mental health help for the girls. If you were not in line with their values, you just fell through the cracks. The suffering of those affected has endured, including the woman who described being groomed by a member of staff. I had just turned 15 when he began to pay attention to me, and make me feel special and different and mature for my age. Looking back on it as an adult, I recognize that it's a textbook case of grooming where you allow a girl to feel ready for a UAL relationship. You allow a child to feel mature and more grown up, so you prepare them for further abuse. He had with her and has kept in touch with her throughout her life. Because of my silence, because he was the only person I could really confide in, I became emotionally dependent on him. He used that dependency to further control and coerce me. It should not have happened at all, but the critical thing is that the atmosphere did not allow for me or other victims to come forward and point it out. She rejected a plea from the school for former pupils to identify their abusers and contact the police. Victims are under no obligation to come forward. They have no responsibilities to anyone other than themselves. Sexual abuse can happen anywhere. It's up to the institutions that support us to create an atmosphere of empathy and belief so that the repercussions of that UAL abuse are cut off at the root. Otherwise they balloon in ways you can't imagine. You end up believing that isolation and shame are normal. You equate end relationships with shame. The abuse and the abuser wrap themselves around your whole life like tentacles, pushing into the future and strangling it.